Little boy targeted by museums after he finds special rock. Oscar's mind wandered as they made their way to the specialist. He felt like he was nowhere near finding out what it was, despite having it for more than a month. The possibilities were endless, and Oscar was excited at the thought of finding out the truth. He was abruptly pulled back to reality when they arrived at the store. It was a critical moment for him, and he could feel his heart racing in his chest. Oscar May was anything but your average little boy. He had a deep love for finding new things with his father. He cherished the time they spent together exploring their passion. He was passionate about going out and exploring new places for hidden treasures, but he was unaware of what he would soon stumble upon. His parents were very supportive of Oscar's endeavors and tried their best to make him happy. He begged them for a fossil for his birthday one year, and they happily obliged. He was thrilled with his present, but they had no idea that it would ignite a desire that would lead to a life-changing finding. One day, Oscar asked his parents to spend some quality time at the beach. However, they knew that it was just an excuse to explore on the beach. And he wasn't content with lovely stones or shells in general. He was constantly on the lookout for something much more significant. If only they'd known he'd uncover it one day. Eventually, his parents decided to give in to his requests. They drove down to a beach nearby their house and laid down their towels to enjoy a quiet day in the sun. Oscar's parents brought their favorite books to read while he went exploring. He had one goal in mind, and they were blissfully unaware that he was going to achieve it that day. Oscar rummaged through the dirt, peering beneath boulders and driftwood. He had previously attempted to look here, but believed he lacked the necessary time. He knew if he kept looking, he'd come across something incredible. He had an instinct about it, and when he eventually saw it, his heartbeat began to accelerate. Was this what he was looking for? He was stunned. When he joyfully presented it to his father, it appeared like a withered branch. But he was aware that this was not the case. He'd eventually take it home and do additional research on it. When Oscar discovered what he had in his possession, he knew his life was about to change. His father was still not convinced that he had discovered something valuable, however, he was still hopeful. He felt he'd found something remarkable because it connected with him in a unique manner, similar to his gut instinct about the beach. What exactly did he find that day? Oscar thought it would be best to approach a passionate fossil shop owner to find the answers he was looking for. However, they needed to travel to the Isle of Wight to speak with him. When the owner of Jurassic Gym examined his find, he was stunned. Oscar was excited beyond belief when his parents agreed to take him to the Isle of Wight. Not only was he getting the answers he so desperately needed, but he was also going to a fantastic fossil shop. However, on the way to the city, Oscar's thoughts were consumed with fears and anxieties about what exactly it was he was holding. Oscar couldn't help but daydream during the long drive to Jurassic Gym. He had now had the fossil for around a month and still didn't feel any closer to figuring out what it was. Was it a dinosaur bone? Maybe some kind of giant woolly mammoth tusk? Or maybe it was a log like his father had thought all along. Just as Oscar stopped daydreaming, he looked up and he was at the store. It was finally the moment of truth, and he felt his pulse race like an Olympic runner going for gold. Jim greeted them in the store and took them to the back to take a look at what his fossil could be. He seemed just as eager as Oscar to find out what he had found. He told him he was surprised that he found something just lying on the beach. But when he examined it, his mouth hung open. It turns out that what Oscar had found on the beach was an orich horn. The catch was that it was 6,000 years old. Oscar was grinning ear to ear after he had heard what it was. Oriches are still around today, but found in far fewer numbers than they used to due to hunting. But to find the horn of one dating back 6,000 years made him beyond happy. But then a question was asked, what did he want to do with it? Oscar was made aware that the fossil he had found was worth around $190. Which for a kid of his age could buy him so many wonderful things. But he didn't know if it was worth it in his mind. He didn't want to part with it, after all. He wasn't sure whether or not his integrity was worth the money, he had a dilemma. After a lot of thought, Oscar decided to do something that not only surprised Jurassic Gym but his parents as well. He chose a third option that no one expected, and it was something he couldn't go back on. He decided to donate the fossil to the Bexhill Museum so that he could share what he had found with anyone else that had an interest in paleontology.